Now I am going to recite a story from Mahabharata, a very interesting story. The title of the story is How Lord Krishna Converted Khāṇḍavaprastha, a desert, into a beautiful city to help his devotees Pandavas. In Dhritarashtra's council chamber, the king spoke before the Pandavas in a trembling voice. It is with joy that I sit here today with Pandu's sons. The gods have surely been merciful to the Kurus in that these 5 heroic brothers still alive. So that no further disputes may arise between us, I want to give the Pandavas half the kingdom. O Yudhishthira, my child, go to Khāṇḍavaprastha. It shall be your half of the kingdom. Live there peacefully. Bhishma and Vidura looked at one another but said nothing. Krishna, who was sitting upon a splendid seat of gold and jewels, and who appeared like the sun illuminating the assembly, smiled when he heard the king's proposal. He knew the region the king was so generously offering to the Pandavas. Khāṇḍavaprastha was a vast area, and it was certainly half the kingdom, but it was nothing but jungle and desert. There were no cities, not even any settlements. Although it had once been the site of the Kuru's capital, a rishi had long ago cursed that land when he felt offended by a Kuru king. It was now a wasteland. Yudhishthira looked respectfully at Dhritarashtra. He felt no anger or resentment at the unfairness of the settlement. The elders represented the supreme. Their orders should be followed without question. The prince looked across at Krishna, who was still smiling. Yudhishthira was sure with his assistance they would be able to make the Khāṇḍava region habitable land. With palms folded, the Pandava acknowledged Dhritarashtra's gift. Shall be so, my lord. The next day, king arranged for Yudhishthira's coronation. With all pomp and ceremony, the prince became king of Khāṇḍavaprastha, with Vyasadeva appearing in time to perform the rituals. After the coronation, the Pandavas arranged to depart. Having worshipped the gods and taken their leave from Kuru's elders, they left with Krishna at the head of their procession. The sage Vyasadeva also accompanied them as they journeyed to the northern region of Khāṇḍava. With his assistant, the brothers selected an auspicious tract of land upon which to found a city. He performed the appropriate Vedic rites to invoke the god's presence. Then Krishna sat with the rishi and summoned Indra. The deity appeared blazing like fire. He bowed before Krishna and asked, "What shall I do for you at this time, my lord?" Krishna asked him to arrange for a city to be constructed for the Pandavas. He told Indra to sprinkle his heavenly nectar across the land so that it would again become rich and fertile. Saying, "So be it," Indra called for Vishwakarma, the architect of the gods. After being instructed by Indra, he began to work on the city. All around the site, granite walls rose to the skies. Vishwakarma constructed wide palaces and mansions, whose windows looked like the divine eagle Garuda's outstretched wings. The city was protected by massive dark gates that resembled clouds. No weapon would assail them. Deadly darts and other missiles were placed along the tops of the defensive ramparts. The turrets were filled with powerful men, all highly trained in warfare and with all weapons at their disposal. The city was then surrounded by delightful woods full of blossoming and fragrant trees. Everywhere were lakes crowded with swans and lotus flowers. The city streets were wide and well designed, with pleasant groves and gardens between them. Pleasure houses stood in the vast public concourses, and there were countless temples dedicated to Vishnu and the heavenly deities. The Pandavas' own palace appeared like the heavenly Mount Meru, full of every opulence. He stood in the center of the city, surrounded by garrisons of warriors. Soon Brahmins began to be attracted to the city, which had become known as Indraprastha. They opened institution wherein they taught all the Vedic sciences. Vaishyas also began to arrive, hoping to earn money by selling their goods. Gradually, craftsmen and artisans arrived, and within a short time, the city was populated with pious citizens. It resembled Amaravati in the heavens, being ruled with justice and compassion by Yudhishthira and his brothers. Indraprastha's people had everything they desired. They came to regard the Pandavas as affectionate fathers. Out of friendship for the Pandavas, Krishna remained in the city for some days. Arjuna and Krishna were especially close and they spent much time together. Draupadi would also take every opportunity to serve Krishna and she became very dear to him. In this way, Lord Krishna helped the Pandavas to convert a desert to beautiful city.